Welcome to Today in Prophecy Daily News in 15 minutes or less. Friends, what a world we live in. Everything's changing minute by minute. Here in the States, we woke up to news this morning about the terrorists that were eliminated in Qatar. A lot of going back and forth on that. The early reports were Trump had outsmarted everybody in Qatar and the terrorists, and he had arranged a fake meeting for peace. And it was really his plan for Israel to take out these terrorist leaders in Qatar while Trump was supposedly working on a peace plan. Well, Trump comes back and says, that had nothing to do with me. I was really looking forward to peace. Israel did that whole thing, folks. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But first of all, just a reminder, we're going to be, well, wait a minute, even before we talk about Texas, for those of you who had the opportunity to watch the video I did today with Jeff Kinley regarding September 23 and the rapture. Just a reminder, you might want to watch the video before you comment so you can see what we talked about. I'll just leave it right there. All right. Lots of people like to just go, this is what they just assume a lot. Remember what happens when you assume. Anyways, remember a teacher telling me that. You guys can figure it out for all of you who speak English. All right. So the Texas conference is coming up. I encourage you, join us for the live stream. So look at this. This is really cool. So the live stream will develop into a permanent package. So you get everything in Texas, but in the permanent package, you're going to get all of this is coming live from Texas. It'll be Pete Garcia, Olivier Melnick, Eric Stakelbeck, Dr. Hormuz Sharia from Iran Alive, John Haller, Dr. Andy Woods. It's going to be absolutely over the top. Also, you're going to get these messages from our Israeli friends. Chaim Mailspin, looks like he's going to be coming to us from Gaza. Edom Pincus is going to be coming to us from the Old City, along with our friend Roddy Harrell. And then Josh Waller from the Israel guys. Just what an incredible thing. All of this is in the live stream that will develop into a permanent package, plus the Shabbat dinner, the Q&A there. It's going to be part of the permanent package. And check this out, also in the video package, you're going to get all of the Santa Barbara conference. Well, it was Santa Barbara. It was myself, Pastor Brandon Holthouse, Pastor James Cadiz, David Tal, James Panafino. So listen, you sign up, you register for the video package, you're getting everything. The live stream package, you're going to get everything. You get the live stream right away, and then the entire permanent package, it'll develop to just for registering for the live stream. All of those things, going to be an absolutely incredible conference. Hey, before we get in, so make sure you do go to hopeforOurTimes.com and register for it. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. These are days that we need to be well informed and strengthen one another. Wow, what days we live in. Okay, before we get into what happened, the news we woke up to the morning here in the States regarding Qatar. Before we get there, what Trump says, what Israel says. Before we get there, I want to go here for a minute because it was dropped by pretty much most news outlets here in the U.S. Very little on any mainstream media reporting, some on social media. But this is regarding a young Ukrainian lady who was killed on a train. Check this out. She was stabbed on a train in North Carolina. Suspect in fatal stabbing of Ukrainian refugee charged with federal crime in killing. The man suspected of carrying out a deadly knife attack on a Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte, North Carolina, has been charged with a federal crime that makes him eligible for the death penalty. Friends, I'm not going to go into everything. The gentleman you see in the picture wearing the red hoodie, this is the person stabs the girl that's sitting right in front of him wearing the black shirt and the hat, kills her. She bleeds out. People on the plane, on the train, watch it, and then they just walk away. She bleeds out. Okay, what is it? She comes from Ukraine with her family to escape the violence going on in Ukraine, comes over here to America. And people are trying to say that crime is down. Friends, crime is not being published. This person who did the stabbing had a radical, long history of trouble and crime. And listen, you don't, when you don't execute the punishment speedily, the crime will increase, says the book of Ecclesiastes, where Solomon wrote about that. So we look at this. Listen, Jesus says, in the last days, lawlessness will abound. The love of many will grow cold. Friends, this is sickening. Why won't people talk about this? Why won't things be done regarding something like this? Absolutely horrible. Coming from Ukraine to have a life worth living, escape the violence in Ukraine. And this is what happens just sitting on a train. Charlotte, North Carolina. The evil of these days are absolutely sickening. All right, let's shift gears. Let's shift our attention over to the Middle East. What do we have? Well, we know this morning we woke up to the news here in the States that Israel had taken out these leaders, terrorist leaders of Hamas in Qatar. And I say, it's about time. Qatar funds, they're the major funder of terrorism between them and Iran. Qatar's been funding the protests against Israel at the universities here in the U.S. And so you look at this, and what happened was they had gathered together in Qatar for a meeting that Trump had set up to talk about a ceasefire. Okay. Everything I read early on said, hey, this was Trump's, it was a master plan by Trump to go ahead and do this. And we're going to see Trump is saying, I had nothing to do with it. We're going to get there in a minute. But let's work through this, all right? So Iran says this is a war crime against humanity, that Israel would do this to these radical terrorist leaders in Qatar. So Iran, seriously, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, funding everything, the slaughter of people worldwide, and it's trying to say this is a war crime. Yet, everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon. All right. So the early reports were this is a genius plan by Trump. Okay. Trump comes out. Check this out. Truth Social says, listen to this. He's denying the whole thing, saying, I don't have anything to do with this. I mean, you look at this. Listen. He said this morning the Trump administration was notified by the U.S. military that Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar. This was a decision made by Prime Minister Netanyahu. It was not a decision made by me, says Trump. Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation, a close ally of the U.S. that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. I immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. However, unfortunately, too late to stop the attack. I view Qatar as a strong ally and a friend of the U.S. and feel very badly about the location of the attack. I want all of the hostages and bodies of the dead released and this war to end now. I also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told me that he wants to make peace. I believe this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. I also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked him for their support and friendship to our country. I assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil. I have directed Secretary of State Rubio to finalize the defense cooperation agreement with Qatar. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So you have these, I mean, what's really going on? Was Trump the one who, or his administration, the one who masterminded the whole thing? Trump said, nope, this has nothing to do with us, but we still want to move forward and have peace. It was Israel's fault. They never should have done this. I mean, you look, you go, what in the world's really going on? You see lawlessness abounding. This girl stabbed to death on a train, just going along. The lawlessness abounding, all this talk about peace. You have wars and rumors of wars. Everybody's blaming each other. What in the world really took place? Who was really behind it? You know, Trump saying, I don't have anything to do with it. I look at this and just think, we live in amazing days. Hamas is a terrorist organization that needs to be eliminated. Needs to be eliminated. The time is coming when there will be peace in Gaza, there will be peace in Judea, there will be peace in Samaria. Also remember, it was just yesterday that the terror attack happened against Jews on a bus, right? So we see these different things. Not related to Hamas, just other terrorists that happen to live in the area of Judea. Wicked things. But with that, as we look at things move forward, check this out. IDF, as we mentioned yesterday, as many people said this is coming, IDF expands operations in Judea and Samaria after the Jerusalem attack from yesterday. Why? Israel they've got to have sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. Much to the angst of many people in the West on both the left and the right. You look at this and go, this is just absolute wickedness. Listen, these are terrorists. These are terrorists, folks. Terrorists. Evil. We cry out here, and rightly so. The crime needs to be punished. As you look what happened on that train. And here it is, Israel lives with terrorists every day, threatening them at bus stops. They can't even go into their own areas. They can't even go into areas of Judea and Samaria without the threat of being killed. They can't go to the land that God has given the Jews for the Jews. They can't even go there. There's parts of Jerusalem that are unsafe for Jews to go to. Muslims can go anywhere around Israel. Jews cannot. I know. I've been there many times. Going again soon. But Israel's got to deal with the problem within Judea and Samaria because you have those hotbeds and Gaza. Also, Israel issues order for full Gaza city evacuation. They have warned the people it's coming. They've told the people you got to leave the area of Gaza City. It's going to be dealt with. Listen, it's only a matter of time before it is dealt with. Then what else do we have, which I'm sure is only going to make the voices even louder, but actors and entertainers pledge to boycott Israeli film institutions over Gaza. Over 200 of them as of last count. I'm sure it's more by now than with Trump's release today on Truth Social. I'm sure it's only going to increase, and the hatred towards Israel is only going to increase. Friends, I want to remind you, Psalm 122, verse 6, the Bible tells us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Listen, I'm not someone who's ever said that everything Israel does is perfect or right or correct. In fact, it's very clear in the Bible that it's not. God's going to judge Israel. In fact, that judgment comes, but also Israel's redemption comes. This book, the Bible, is full of sins of the people of Israel, the Jews. It's also full of sins of Gentiles too. Listen, there's no perfect government. There's no perfect ruling class. There's no perfect king. There's no perfect queen. This is why Jesus must come. He is the perfect one. As we look at everything developed together, this is not making an excuse for right or wrong regarding Israel, but understanding what God does say and understanding also that Israel's in a different place than the rest of the world is in, where the terrorists constantly want to eliminate them. Take the areas where Islam has conquered. They're the occupiers. They go into Lebanon, they conquer. They go into all these different areas, then they conquer, and they conquer, and they conquer. How did Islam conquer 50 or so countries? The areas they are going to now. They say they're going to conquer Europe. They're going to conquer France. They're going to conquer the UK. They're going to conquer New York City. Everywhere. Who are the real occupiers? The ones who take over the land. Or the real colonizers, I should say. Colonizers. Friends, we need Jesus. Israel needs Jesus. The rest of the world needs Jesus. Lord Jesus, come quickly, in the words of the Apostle John. And let's pray for the peace of Jerusalem, which literally means pray for Jesus, the Messiah, to come back. God bless you guys. See you tomorrow.